Welcome to another episode of Off the Hook with Matty D. I am your host, Matt DiNardo, and I got to tell you a story. So, woke up one morning and logged into my Facebook, as I always do, and I had a message there, and the message said, "Hey, Matt, I don't know if you can do something with this, but this is a program we have upcoming here. It's a fishing tournament, and we're going to raise toys for Tots." And I said to myself, this is a tremendous idea. I think this is just a great way to kind of talk about a different off-the-hook segment, I should say. I did not know anything, and if you saw the name there, of Virginia East or Fishers of Men. So I reached out to Andy Levine, who joins me now, and I said, Andy, tell me a little bit about this. So first of all, thanks for joining me on Off the Hook with Matty D.
No, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So tell us a little bit, before we get into this toy drive, because it's fantastic, and you have so much to talk about. Who are Fishers of Men?
So Fishers of Men, we're a tournament organization. It's a team tournament fishing trail. We fish for largemouth bass, for those that don't know about bass tournaments and fishing tournaments. We started in 1998 in South Carolina, just a few small divisions, and the main goal of Fishers of Men is actually to introduce fishermen and their families into a relationship with Christ. So we use it as a ministry platform. Our goal is to have just top-level, high-quality bass fishing tournaments with a little bit of a lighthearted atmosphere, more of a family atmosphere. We provide anglers with a meal on Friday nights, where we just have the opportunity to fellowship with them, have raffles for them, and then, we'll go over tournament rules and things like that, and then we'll fish the following Saturday.
So it's really a very inclusive way to bring religion and fishing together, because I think we could all use a little bit of spiritual uplift every now and then.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so you have, and we'll get to your tournament schedule, you've been running tournaments here, or your entire team has, for well over a decade, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Fishers of Men has been in the Virginia East region for, I don't know the number right off, but it's it's probably 15 to 20 years, somewhere in that range. This 2025 will be my eighth season as a director of Fishers of Men Virginia East. I've been with the organization for about 10 years. I fished it for 2 years before the directorship opportunity.
And so you're pairing guys up together, and we'll get into the tournaments as well. But you emailed me, as I mentioned out of the top here, with this graphic. And how did this come about, fishing and toys for Tots?
Really, it was, I can't take full credit for it. It was just something that came up. So a few years ago, nationally as an organization, we did a similar event, a Santa Claus tournament on Lake Norman in North Carolina. They used that. They partnered with Toys for Tots down there as well. I believe they're still going to have a similar event this year with it. But I thought, why not, try something similar locally instead of such a large-scale thing. So we figured we would try it this season and see how it turned out.
So this event is going to happen on Saturday, November 2nd, but we've got to register a little bit before then. Tell me about registration. How do we go about doing all that?
Yes, so if anglers or anybody interested in fishing the tournament wants to go online to the website, it's our initials, FOMNTT.com. Easiest way to find the Virginia East page. There's a map at the bottom of the main website. Just find Virginia, and it'll show you all the divisions in Virginia. So if they go on there, I have a link, a PayPal link, where they can pay for registration. I'll keep track of all the teams that are registered. And then this one's just going to be a one-day event. That way we have the most people show up for it as we can. So that'll be great. Encouraging anglers, obviously, to bring an unopened toy so we can fill the boat for Toys for Tots. We're going to give a raffle ticket for everybody that gives a toy, so there'll be a few extra prizes for that. But also want to get it out there that it's a toy drive, a community toy drive. So if anybody wants to come by Osborne Land and drop off toys, that we will be there all day.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, you're hitting an area where, we think about the Christmas holidays, and there are so many children that don't have that toy to open up. And there's
Right.
something magical of that unwrapped toy. You know, we always see the commercials with the Marines, the Toys for Tots. So I think I owe it to you guys. Are doing a fantastic job. I like this a lot for sure. So for this, you said it's an open tournament. So an angler like me who has no certifications, I'm not part of some sort of, I could go in and I can fish as long as I have a boat. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. As long as you have a boat, and the rules are on the Fishers of Men website. So we do have some criteria boat-wise, just Coast Guard regulations, just for safety purposes,
Right.
especially with a large group of guys out there. And anyone can feel free to contact me, and I can go over that with them. The main thing with the open tournament is our normal tournament series. You have to have a Fishers of Men membership to fish with us. It's a yearly membership. This one is not going to require that. Again, it's just to try and encourage as many people to show up as we can.
And so let's talk about that. So you mentioned a yearly membership, Fishers of Men, and we're going to show some of the different tournament pictures here. How do I, if I want to become a member of Fishers of Men, is there an initiation? Is there a yearly membership? How does it all work?
Right. So we have a yearly membership. It runs January 1st through December 31st. So it's 1 year. It's not a year from the date you pay for it. So honestly, I think if anybody goes in and tries to pay a membership now, it would count for 2025 because we're so close. So you basically pay that membership for an individual. It's right around $42.50 per year, and that gives you the ability to fish any Fishers of Men tournament trail tournament.
So whether it's in
across the
Virginia,
country.
okay, so that's interesting. So if I saw something in Ohio or North Carolina or Louisiana, I can go and enter those because I'm a member of Fishers of Men.
Correct. Yep. And we are one of the largest team series trails in the country. Like I said, we started early as in South Carolina, but we currently have 47 active divisions from Texas to Maine to Florida. So.
And you said so it's a weekend tournament, like a Saturday, Sunday tournament typically?
Just a single day tournament.
Okay.
Yep.
But Friday night is dinner and fellowship, and we're seeing some of your anglers here sitting down, and again, to bring in the word of Jesus, the word of Christ, to work the ministry in.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we use that opportunity. It really, I think that gives a little more lighthearted feel to the events instead of it just being so cutthroat competitive.
Right.
We have some of the best anglers in the area that fish our trail, but having that opportunity to just sit down together, break bread together, really it changes the atmosphere of it. And like I said, we do raffles. It's just a good time for all of us to know each other, and then we obviously have that opportunity to present a gospel message to them.
And Andy, is open to be a member, is there an age limit, 16 and over, or is it open to anybody?
It's open to anybody. Obviously, if you're not 18, you would have to have an adult in the boat with you.
Right.
We have had some younger anglers with a waiver from their parent, if they're not fishing with their parent. So for the team series, which is what I run, it's generally 2 adults in a boat. A lot of times we have a husband and wife team. We have had like a dad and a teenage son.
Right.
We also have a legacy series, which is strictly an adult and a junior angler. And that's a little bit different than the trail I run, but I'm still involved with that as well.
And so it becomes very family inclusive at that point for sure. When I'm looking at these pictures here, these are some huge largemouths. I mean, this is some fishing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, so, I think you undersold it a touch saying, there's the fellowship, which I get, right? And you're like, and that takes the lightheartedness. But I got to tell you, when I'm looking at these pictures, these gentlemen here are some serious anglers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, they
turn it on Saturday morning.
They really do. Yeah. When it's competition day, they're full-blown competition. So we don't want to cut that short of how hard these guys compete on Saturday against each other, and how hard they fight all season for like our points championship.
And so how does the how do the points work? Is it certain number of bass into a boat, a weight limit? What are you doing to create your leaderboard?
Okay, so for scoring for each tournament, it's the heaviest 5 bass limit.
Okay.
So the anglers can bring 5 bass to the scale to weigh, and the heaviest 5 fish is the winner. So it's tiered down from that.
So they're keeping them live in the boat, in the
Yes.
live well, and then released after.
Correct.
Okay. And is there a penalty if the fish dies in the live well, or
Yes.
is it?
So
Yeah.
yep. So obviously we follow all state game rules. So most of the time for most lakes and rivers across the state, it's a 12-inch minimum. Different lakes have a little bit different rules. But so there's a penalty if they bring in a short fish, obviously, and then there's a penalty if they bring in any dead fish.
Gotcha. So again, becoming a very serious competition
Yes,
on
yeah.
Saturday morning, which is wonderful here. And you said some of the tournaments involve like a dad and a son, or that's such a
Absolutely.
really good. I'm looking at these fish, and you so I am an angler, as you know, and this is just fantastic. So where are you fishing in Virginia? I know you just released your 2025 schedule. We'll get to that in a second. But are there hot spots that you try to hit every year, say like a Chickahominy or Osborne Landing, or do you try to mix it up all the time?
Well, we have the ability. I set the schedule for our trail, and each director has the ability in each state to do their own trails,
Right.
or own schedule. So yeah, I try and hit the hottest spots at the hottest time. We do, like I said, this is my 8th season, so we do try and keep it as fresh as we can. We have 6 events in a season, so points-wise, we allow the anglers to drop their lowest finishing event.
Gotcha.
For points at the end of the year. But the Chickahominy and James River are always regulars. We do go as far east as or west as Bugs Island Lake or Kerr Reservoir.
Yep.
In Lake Gaston. So most of those places are regulars, and I just try and mix the schedule up as best I can, sometimes to try and hit it at the best times, but also sometimes just to challenge the anglers.
And the anglers are from, I know you said that somebody in Ohio could come, fish in one of your tournaments here, but are most of the anglers in the Virginia East from Central Virginia, or is it all over the state and they're coming to fish these tournaments?
It's quite a path of anglers. A lot of them are from the Central Virginia region, right here near in and around Richmond, but we do have several anglers out of Northern Virginia area. We have a few anglers out of as far as like Blacksburg near Virginia Tech that actually come fish Virginia East.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a big group of guys.
Do you know how many members altogether, or roughly? Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
For Virginia East?
Yeah, for Virginia East.
Virginia East, we probably had, I think we had around 65 or so individual teams last year.
Yeah.
So 120 or so anglers. Some of those teams may have only fished 1 or 2 events with us. But we had about, I think we average right around 35 boats per event.
That's what I was going to ask you. How many boats in an event? 35.
Yeah.
So with the drive the open tournament you have coming up on November 2nd, are you looking to surpass that or try to come equal with that? What's your thought?
I think we can come equal with it easily. I would love to surpass it just to get other people that may not have known about Fishers and Men just to come try us out, see how we run an event, talk to us, just get to know us. And obviously it brings more folks in, so it'll be higher payout for the anglers,
Right.
And more toys in the boat for Toys for Tots.
For Toys for Tots, which is great. Okay, so I mentioned you just released the 2025 schedule. I want to get to that here. I'll bring it up full screen. You put this list together. You picked these. What is your favorite of the top 6 that you have there, or is there a favorite?
I'm kind of excited about the March tournament on Lake Gaston. We fished it the last 2 years in May, so I'm kind of excited about that in the early spring like that. It's going to be a fun season.
And do you find it a little bit more easy or difficult as an angler yourself going for largemouth in February or March versus hitting them in the summer months, because you have some of the things here like May 17th or June 14th or July 12th? Or is it just knowing the waterways and the fish really well?
It's kind of knowing the waterways and the fisheries. Some of those are sleeper fisheries for early in the year. The earlier in the season, you'll catch less fish, but generally you'll get better bites. So depending on what your goal is for the day.
Gotcha.
I'm not as good as the rest of the guys that fish with us, so I kind of like the summer ones where I can go catch a whole bunch of little ones and at least feel like I'm doing something.
I think that's great. So, a couple of months ago, you're probably aware of this, MLF was in town, and I got to be out on the Chickahominy with those anglers. And, I mean, some of those guys, boy, they seem to light it up on almost every cast.
It was amazing. Actually, I got to see you there because I had the opportunity to be a marshal.
Oh, were you a marshal
for
at
that tournament?
Oh,
yeah, for the first 3 days of that.
It was incredible.
It was unbelievable.
And they are going to come back and do some stuff. I think out Smith Mountain Lake come next year. Yeah, a little bit smaller than that main event.
Yes.
But yeah. So just that was my first experience with true bass fishing, besides watching it on ESPN or ESPN2,
right?
Which I was like, this looks really cool.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's exciting.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so there's the list there once again. So February we're Chickahominy, and then Lake Gaston, which you're excited about, Lake Anna, Lake Chesdin, James River, Osborne Landing, and then Bugs Island. That's going to be pretty interesting in July for sure.
That's going to be that's the latest we've ever fished out there on Bugs Island, so that's going to be an interesting event. I'm kind of excited about that one as well, just to see the difference. We normally hit that sometime between early March and May, so kind of that spring spawn time frame.
Yep.
So it'll be exciting to see what it does in the summer.
And when you're coming up to a weekend event, or Friday night is the fellowship and then Saturday is the tournament, how much work are you doing? I mean, it's got to be a ton. I mean, leading up to it, the weeks before, besides just putting the schedule together.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, like you said, we just had the schedule come out recently, so I kind of got all of those dates and locations shored up.
Right.
Now the work kind of starts. Luckily, we have a very good relationship with a lot of those landings and communities in the area, so we'll try and partner with the local church close to the landing to host us for the Friday night meeting.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of a little bit of the footwork I do is just nurturing those relationships to have hosts where they'll bring us in, feed us, give us the space, that sort of thing.
Do they provide the minister, or do you have a minister in your own anglers?
We do have a chaplain for our division, but what I normally do when we partner with these churches is kind of talk with their pastor or somebody there, a men's group leader or something like that, and give them the opportunity if they want to provide a message. We've had anglers that provide their own testimony at our events, so it could be all over the board, but the main thing is just making it relational, making these guys understand that having a relationship with Christ is a personal thing, and you don't have to be a pastor to have it. You can be a fisherman just like the rest of us.
And enjoy the camaraderie with the fellow man as well.
Absolutely.
So, very good. All right, so before we get to the 2025 schedule, we want to remind people that you and your group have decided to do this open tournament, which is coming up in just about a week or so. Saturday, November 2nd. Sorry.
Yep, just a couple weeks out.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. And again, 150 per boat. You can go to FOMNTT.com, slide down to the map, and click on Virginia. And from that point on, be able to pay the fee via PayPal, and then Osborne Landing. So if the tournament begins, the one day begins at about 7 a.m., what time, to get everybody loaded into the water,
right?
What time should we expect anglers to start? So at 5:30?
Yeah, that would be about right. 7 a.m. is probably going to be a little early in a couple of weeks, but I put that time frame just so we have an idea. We always launch. I'll give a time frame for our anglers, but it's always safe light. So if there's adverse weather, fog, that sort of thing, it could be delayed beyond that.
Sure.
But I always like to give them a time. That way you have something to shoot for to have the boats in the water.
Right. You don't want to show up late.
But we will probably be at the ramp. With that being an open event and no Friday night meeting where I can kind of go over the rules and things like that, knowing we'll have anglers that are not familiar with our trail and exactly how we operate every morning.
Right.
We'll probably be there 5:30, somewhere like that. And all of that information is going to be on the information page for that.
On the website.
Event.
And
Yep.
again, it's open to anybody who wants to fish for bass, two-man teams. But the key here is bring a toy for Toys for Tots.
Absolutely.
And whether you're fishing or not, stop on by Osborne Landing and help to fill the boat, let's say.
Absolutely, yeah. Bring the community out, and they want to come by, and they don't have the opportunity to fish, but they just want to talk to us about what the organization does or learn more about bass tournaments and just how we're using that as an evangelical platform. We'd love to talk to them and have them drop a toy off.
Sounds great. And again, if you want to find out more about Fishers of Men Virginia East, you can go to their website at FOMNTT.com. Again, that's FOMNTT.com. Andy, I can't thank you enough for coming today and telling us about this event. I wish you all the success with this event in your 2025 season.
Matt, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a blast. So just again, thank you.
Thank you. And again, this has been another episode of Off the Hook with Matty D. Check them out. Fishers of Men, Virginia East, and help them out with the Toys for Tots drive on November 2nd. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of